My name is Janet Anderson, and I teach at Pleasant Hill Elementary School. In the past, I have participated in box tops for education and jump rope for heart for the American Heart Association. I chose Health Moves Minds for my organization to do for the students because it was talking about the um, social emotional learning, and the lessons that would be provided and were incredible, and the language that the students were going to be using in class. My friend was using it at her school, and she talked about the language and the vocabulary and how it was just helping her kids so much with behaviors. And I decided to jump on board, and it was like a game changer. The thing I like most about the Health Moves Minds fundraiser is the positive language that the students are now using, and I'm using with them as we interact. We talk about like respectful listening, and the students are I can just, as after I've already taught it, I can just say like, oh, do we have respectful listening? And the kids will immediately stop that chatter and get quiet, and they listen, and it's just an instant tool these kids have been able to utilize, and it's been amazing. I start my fundraiser in February around President's Day. And then I run it for about 3 weeks. And then I hold the event, my Health Moves Minds event, during my classes on a Thursday and Friday. And I just do it right during my PE classes, and I don't change the schedule at all. The fundraising from Health Moves Minds has helped my school because we didn't have very much equipment here. And with what we were able to earn, we did the 25 and 25 split. So I was able to get some basic needs for my students. Cones is what I was so excited to get. And it really just something so simple, yet we use them every day. And we chose, as a school, my school district and we decided to do our local PTO, and gave 25% back to them, and they were able to use that money right back directly into our schools K through 6. So that was wonderful, just go right back to the kids. I was able to use my Gopher gift card. We got about $200 for our school, and I got cones. I got where we can have stations, because I didn't even have 6 cones to do stations or mark an area. And I got about 12 cones, I think, out of that, and I was super excited. The students at my building are 3rd and 4th graders, and the money that they were able to raise for Health Moves Minds came directly back to our PE classes, where the students were able to use the equipment, and we were able to use those new cones before the end of the year, because I was able to get my gift cards back so quickly. It was helping with organization of my lessons. It was helping the kids see, this is what you did, and it helps us immediately. It was wonderful. By choosing our Pleasant Hill PTO, our students were impacted with them being able to receive a gift card from our donations from Health Moves Minds, because the students could actually see what they were helping out with. And the PTO actually spent the money back with our students on getting them more recess equipment. And I would talk about with the kids, like, we in PE we got this equipment, but when you go out to recess, all these different playground balls and basketballs and jump ropes have come from our local PTO, and it just really made them feel good about what they were doing for our school and community. Last year, I was able to use the theme Amplify Kindness through my emails that I was able to send home, the paperwork that I had for the students. I was able to get the graphic from the resources that were provided from Health Moves Minds, and I added that graphic as a backdrop to my PowerPoint presentation for the students when we kicked it off. And then with my lessons, I teach from a PowerPoint. And so that graphic was always, the Amplify Kindness was always shown every day in my classes. I had 2 kickoffs last year. I did a 3rd grade kickoff for Health Moves Minds and then a 4th grade Health Moves Minds kickoff. And I utilized the video from Health Moves Minds, that it was just a kickoff celebration of also explaining what the event is and the program. And it was eye catching for the students and was able to kind of grab their attention. So after the video, I could add my part, and it helped make the presentation of the kickoff a lot easier on me because the video that was provided did so much explanation for myself that was kid friendly. So last year, I was able to add 3 extra incentives for the Health Moves Minds event. And my first one I had for students was if they raised $50 or more, they could sign my Health Moves Minds t-shirt, and then I would wear it. The second one I had was the student who raised the most money from each 3rd and 4th grade class would get to be the PE helper for an assigned PE class. And so they got to just be me. They got to be teacher. They got to discipline kids. They would send them to the restroom or the nurse, and they had to give all those directions. And I helped them with that. And then the 3rd incentive I gave students was the top 3rd and 4th grader, boy and girl, got to play basketball with our principal. And our principal had come up with that one. She wanted to be able to give back to these students something extra, and she loved playing basketball. So we invited their parents, and they came and watched them just for 30 minutes, just play some horse with the principal. And it was just fun watching the kids be so excited to spend that time with the principal. The students from my school were able to identify their feelings when I was able to use the Health Moves Minds lessons that were provided. In particular, the halted lesson, where the letters of halted stood for different feelings and emotions. H was for hungry. The students sat in a circle. I put one kid in the middle, and they pretended like they were the paparazzi. And the students that were in the outside of the circle would freeze in what hungry might look like to them. And the students were making such a connection was that when the kid in the middle taking the pictures, they said the faces of these different emotions really kind of was affecting them because they weren't realizing how this can affect the students every day. We also did the muscle relaxation activity. It was one of my favorites. We had out the yoga mats, and the students were laying on them. And the video that was provided with Health Moves Minds had them tighten different muscles and relax. And I had a 3rd grader mention to me afterwards how they didn't even realize how their brain and body was connected until they had done that activity. So these lessons from Health Moves Minds to help with the fundraising and help build upon your program really, affected our students in such a positive way. It was wonderful. When we talked about our students' behaviors and by choosing a charity, I talked about with the students being able to give back more than just us, our program. We were wanting to help our PE program, and by having us choose a local charity just here in town that affected our students really gave the students an opportunity to see how helping others can be done, and it didn't have to be an extra amount of work. My favorite part of the lessons that I was able to utilize and still utilize in the Health Moves Minds lessons is the mindful minute. I brought that into the end of my class for closure, and we have the same routine every day. And this 1-minute activity has taught the kids how to calm themselves, refocus their minds, try to relax their body. They have focused on their breath, and is part of our routine in class, so much that if I feel like I've ran out of PE time and we have to hurry and go line up, the kids are, complaining. They're like, why didn't we get to do the mindful minute today? We need to do the mindful minute. And it's a piece of PE now that they really enjoy, that just takes 1 minute. When we had to do choice boards for PE class so the kids can do extra at home activities, I took the mindful minute and recorded myself to give these kids a opportunity to practice that mindful minute at home if they needed it as a resource. They could do that video with me, so they didn't have to do it alone. And the response I got back from a particular mother was that she was watching her kid do this, and it was really working. They would be frustrated at their sibling and upset, and they got where they weren't using the video but would just go in their room and sit on the floor and would do a mindful minute. And that parent said that that really had a positive impact on their family, because they could see the student was using tools from school to help better themselves, and she was very thankful for that. I had the art teacher kind of complaining one day to me about struggling with students' behaviors and outbursts with students. And I shared with her being able to use respectful listening. And it was something that Health Moves Minds taught me. I had taught the students in class, and it was working for me. But I gave her a copy of the respectful listening and told her, just, hang it up there on the board, and when students were having trouble, just, kind of point to it and refer to the respectful listening. Like, do I have respectful listening right now? It was that simple. She did that one day and has used it ever since. And she said the kids have been able to take that information from my classroom to her classroom and help get that problem to be declined. So it was wonderful. I noticed with our Health Moves Minds, the climate of our school became a lot more positive. There was a lot more interaction between the students and myself. They were greeting each other because that was one of the lessons. And I noticed that a couple teachers were actually telling me, hey, I notice the kids are telling you good morning in the hallway as they're going, and they weren't quite telling everyone else good morning. And I said, oh, well, we really worked on that interaction. Like, if I'm going to speak to you, you answer something to me, we'll greet each other and say hello. And those couple teachers who noticed that saw the impact it was making on those students, just to give a piece of like a trusted adult. Like, they knew those kids could talk to me at any time. To encourage others to do the Health Moves Minds program, one, it's not as hard as you think it is, and the lessons that you gain from it for your students about social emotional learning is incredible. Um, to me, almost the bonus was the fundraising, that I was able to earn equipment for my classes for the students here. But watching these students use the tools to socially interact in a more positive way, have respectful listening, be able to greet each other through the day was outstanding. It was worth every second that I put towards Health Moves Minds. On top of that, then it's that fundraiser piece. I was able to happen to get money to help support my program for equipment that these students needed, so I could run nice, effective lessons. And the students were able to give back to the community of the local PTO to help that charity. And it was just an extra bonus on top. So pulling in families, students, community, the Health Moves Minds it's the way to go. It's fantastic.